Have you ever watched a series or a movie and you see the chemistry between the actors on screen and it is like so real? Like you could almost reach into the screen and take it with your hands and you could feel the chemistry in your hands. Like you could feel it so real and so special. That's the best way I could put it. Like it feels so real. Have you ever experienced that? That was the exact experience I got while watching this series. The chemistry between the main characters was palpable. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In this video, I want to talk about Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith follows the story of two strangers that get married and become spies for a spy agency. It's kind of like the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie film that came out in the 2000s. I can't remember the exact year, but it came out in the 2000s. Before I watched this movie, I thought it was going to be like a remake. They're just changing the characters and doing the same thing with a much larger story. But it's a very, very different story. In the movie that came out in the 2000s, those guys, Mr. and Mrs. Smith in that film, they were already established spies. They were very good at their jobs already. They are working for different agencies. But in this film, they are working for the same company and they are not experienced spies. They just get into the job and they are learning on the job. And it makes the world feel very, very full and much more realistic because they are making mistakes as they are going and they have to know what to do, and it feels very realistic because you see them learning on the job and you see them failing and they're just getting better in this spy job that they are doing. And like I said in the intro of this video, the chemistry between the actors Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, their chemistry was palpable. It was so real, it felt so genuine. Like at the point I was like, are these people a real couple? That was how real it felt. Like they were so connected with each other. Even the moments where they were fighting, where they were having back and forth, where they were quarreling, they still felt like a genuine couple. They still had that chemistry together. Man, it was so magnetic and so enthralling to watch. And man, it's something that really heightened the series to a greater level. I feel like this series works best when we just followed Mr. and Mrs. Smith dealing with their relationships and not the spy stuff. And I think the filmmakers of this series also knew that they did not focus too much on the spy aspect of it. They focused a lot on the relationship, and that was where the series was the strongest. When you are following these people, you see them having quarrels, you see them loving up, and all these things that they're encountering. It just makes the series a much greater series, to be honest. And the way the relationships is explored is done in a very, very realistic way. When you first meet them, they are all lovey-dovey and so into each other. And as time goes on, they start bickering. And when you see all those things, it just makes you realize, yes, this is how relationships are. And it's just done so realistically, the way they explored the relationships. And it adds to the overall brilliance of this show. And the writing of this show is very, very good. The characters feel very natural. They feel like real people. With the way they talk and things that they say, it feels like a genuine thing. It feels like a realistic story. It feels so real, honestly. That just goes to show how good the writing was. At some point, I was like, they actually write this script, or are these actors just improvising on the fly because of how good their chemistry was? That aspect just made me realize, man, the writing of this show is done so well. And I feel like the actors also, their chemistry and their performance elevates the writing to a much greater level. Because if it was actors that didn't have the same chemistry as these main actors did, it would not have hit as hard as it did. But because the actors had the chemistry and their performances were so good, it just elevated the greatness of the script. And this series is a comedy drama, and the comedy of it is so good. It feels so natural. I keep saying natural because that's the word I can use to describe how it felt. It felt so natural, the comedy of it. The actors weren't trying so hard to be funny. They were just naturally funny characters and they find themselves in hilarious situations. And the actors just know how to play those situations to get maximum comedy from it. And it did not feel forced. It felt so natural. And that just goes back to the script being good and the actors delivering fantastic performances. The comedy worked so brilliantly. And the dialogue also. The dialogue felt so real, so natural. Man, a lot of things worked brilliantly with this show. Like anytime I was listening to the characters talk, it felt like I was listening to real people talk. It felt like how people in relationships, people in their daily lives, felt like how they talk. It was so realistic. It was done so well. And like I keep saying, the actors' performances just elevate these things to a greater level. Man, it worked so brilliantly. And this show just has 8 episodes. It is so binge-worthy. It is bingeable. Like when I started it, I did not want to stop. That was how interesting it was. And the fact that we are just following these two characters, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, for the whole time. We also get other characters. Speaking of other characters, there are some guest actors that come in every episode. Those actors just added so much excitement to the series. Anytime I see a new actor, I'm like, yo, this guy is in this show too. Man, it just added so much to the series as a whole. And like I said, the series is at its best when it's just following Mr. and Mrs. Smith dealing with their relationship and growing as characters. Man, it works so brilliantly, and I love this series from start to finish. So have you guys seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith? What do you think about it? Comment below and let me know. Or did you see the Mr. and Mrs. Smith that came out in the 2000s, the one starring Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie? Did you see it? And have you seen this one? How do those two compare together? Personally, I enjoyed this one much more than I enjoyed that last one. What about you? How did you feel about it? Comment below and let me know. Is this your first time on my channel? Please subscribe to my channel for more contents like this. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Cheers.